Welcome back to RetroWheelsVault, where horsepower never dies. We're back in the garage dusting off another chapter of muscle car legend. And this time, we mean that literally, because today, we're firing up the 1970 Plymouth Duster. Another classic unlocked, another beast revived. Now the Duster wasn't your average Sunday cruiser or grocery getter. No, this little devil rolled off the assembly line like a punch in the gut wrapped up in a fastback silhouette. It was Mopar's idea of a practical joke. Take the economy-friendly Valiant, rip out the polite small talk, and cram in enough power to rattle your feelings loose. Imagine Clark Kent suddenly ripping off his glasses, lighting a cigarette, and dragging someone at a red light. This wasn't just a car, it was a compact rebellion. Affordable, agile, and ready to prove that muscle didn't always need a full-size badge or massive price tag to flex hard. Because let's face it, modern cars forgot what muscle means. So buckle up as we crack open the Duster's hood, dig into the specs, and unleash the growl of this pavement predator. It's time to remember what raw American steel can really do. Let's talk about one of the wildest what-ifs in muscle car branding history. Originally, Plymouth wanted to slap the actual Tasmanian Devil, yes, the whirling Looney Tunes tornado of chaos, onto the side of the 1970 Duster. Negotiations with Warner Brothers were underway, but the deal fell through faster than the Taz himself tearing through a forest. Undeterred, Chrysler's own Thomas Burch stepped up to the plate. With a pencil and a vision, he created the now iconic Twister logo, complete with a stylized dust cloud and a wild, windswept font that screamed motion even at a standstill. The Duster 340 took this branding to the next level with some of the boldest, most in-your-face graphics of the muscle car era. The Twister package featured tornado-inspired decals that spiraled down the rear quarters like a storm on wheels. And if you were feeling a little fancy, there was the Feather Duster trim, a later, more economy-minded option, but with equally striking badging. It's a classic case of missed licensing deal turning into Mopar magic. Who needs a cartoon when you've got a raw torque and a tail graphic that looks like it could suck a Camaro into another dimension? Now that's branding. When it came to design, the 1970 Plymouth Duster didn't strut around like a prom queen. It showed up in a leather jacket, boots scuffed, and a smirk that said, "Let's race." Built on the A-body platform, it borrowed the bones of the Plymouth Valiant, but ditched the boring bits. Instead, designers chiseled out a fastback silhouette that looked like it was already moving at 60 miles per hour. Parked. The Duster's sheet metal was lean, mean, and all business. That sweeping roofline dropped into a tight rear deck, giving it a wind-cutting shape that made other compacts look like kitchen appliances on wheels. Up front, it sported a blunt, aggressive grille that gave off "don't mess with me" energy, and the available blacked-out hood with twin scoops only added to its street brawler persona. Inside, Spartan. You didn't get a luxury lounge, you got a cockpit. Vinyl seats, a basic dash, and just enough gauges to keep you honest. That's the charm. No fluff, no pretense, just a muscle machine dressed like it's here to work. The Duster was a blue-collar brawn in a sleek suit. A reminder that great design doesn't need chrome overload. It just needs attitude and a purpose. Under the hood, the 1970 Plymouth Duster offered a buffet of powertrains, from mild salsa to full-on ghost pepper. Starting things off was the 198 cubic inch slant 6 inline 6, which wasn't exactly going to snap necks, but would get you to work on time and still have enough prep to outrun a grocery cart. Next up, the 225 cubic inch version of the slant 6, nicknamed the Leaning Tower of Power, was a bit more spirited, offering smooth, dependable torque with the charm of a hard-working farm dog, loyal, unflashy, and ready to go all day. But if you really wanted to rattle the neighbors, you needed to step into the V8 territory. The 318 cubic inch LA V8 brought solid grunt, perfect for those wanting muscle without melting their wallets. It was a small block with big ambition, a real "don't sleep on me" engine. And then of course came the 340 cubic inch LA V8, the heart of the Duster 340. This was Mopar's compact class assassin, lightweight, high revving, and packing 275 ponies, though many suspect it was underrated. It turned the Duster into a street fighter. Toss this engine into that nimble A-body and you had a muscle-bound mosquito, small, fast, and ready to sting. When it came to putting power to pavement, the 1970 Plymouth Duster didn't just bark, it bit. The drivetrain transmission options were like a tailor-fit suit for every kind of driver, from Sunday cruisers to backstreet bruisers. Base models came with a 3-speed manual transmission that felt like teaching a teenager to throw a punch. Simple, clunky, but it got the job done. You could also offer a 3-speed TorqueFly automatic. Chrysler's tried and true gearbox shifted smooth enough to butter toast yet strong enough to handle a V8's tantrum. But if you were chasing speed and didn't mind working a little bit, the 4-speed manual was your golden ticket. Paired with the beefier engines, especially that feisty 340, it turned the Duster into a bare-knuckle brawler. The pistol grip shifter was iconic, practically daring you to dump the clutch and light up the rear tires. Out back, the rear-wheel drive was the name of the game, channeling all that muscle straight into the pavement like a greased bowling ball down a waxed lane. No electronics, no computers, just gears, guts, and glory. The Duster's drivetrain didn't ask you to drive, it asked if you could handle it. And if you couldn't, well, it was happy to teach you the hard way. The 1970 Plymouth Duster's chassis and suspension setup was as no-nonsense as a diner waitress on the night shift. Tough, straightforward, and surprisingly good at handling chaos. Built on Chrysler's sturdy A-body platform, the Duster was light on its feet, but tough in the knuckles. It wasn't trying to corner like a European sports car, but for a compact American muscle machine, it could dance better than you'd expect. Up front, it used an independent torsion bar suspension, Chrysler's signature move, offering a firm but responsive ride, like walking a tightrope with steel-toed boots. In the rear, leaf springs kept things simple and solid. Not glamorous, but dependable, like strapping a jet engine to a picnic bench and still managing to steer it. The real magic came with the Duster 340 package. Along with a beefier engine came upgraded suspension components, heavy-duty shocks, and sway bars that made the car feel tighter than a jar of pickles at Grandma's house. It hugged corners with surprising tenacity for a car that was mostly built to go fast in a straight line. Sure, it wasn't a precision scalpel, but the Duster handled like a well-balanced hammer. Solid, reliable, and ready to swing hard at anything in its path. Step inside the 1970 Duster and you won't find leather seats and massage your back, or a touchscreen that tells you the weather in Tokyo. Nope, this interior was all grit, no gimmicks. The Duster's cabin was a minimalist muscle lair, built with one mission in mind: to keep your hands on the wheel and your foot on the floor. The dashboard was clean and straightforward, with gauges that told you only what you needed to know: speed, fuel, and whether or not you were pushing it too hard. It was less luxury suite and more mission control. Even the speedometer looked like it was daring you to max it out. Vinyl bench seats were standard fare, though bucket seats were available if you wanted to upgrade from school bus to sports bar booth. And while high-end tech was nowhere to be found, you could score optional extras like an AM radio, because nothing pairs better with a V8 growl than some crackly rock and roll. In short, the Duster's interior was like a Spartan boxing gym. No frills, just function. It wasn't built to coddle. It was built to remind you that you were in control. And really, isn't that what muscle is all about? Out back, the 1970 Plymouth Duster kept things spinning with a range of rear differentials, including the legendary 8 3/4 inch axle for the high performance models like the Duster 340. Toss in the optional Sure Grip limited slip, and you had both tires clawing the pavement like a rabid squirrel on espresso. It wasn't fancy, but it was tough. Like duct tape and determination had a baby. Drum brakes were standard all around, with front discs optional, giving you just enough stopping power to make a quick prayer and hit the brakes. It was all classic Mopar muscle. Simple, savage, and stubbornly effective. The 1970 Plymouth Duster wasn't built to be a land yacht. It was more like a street brawler and a track shoot. Measuring 188.4 inches long and 71.7 inches wide, it had just enough size to throw elbows without taking up the whole road. Standing 52.1 inches tall, it kept a low, aggressive profile, like it was crouched and ready to pounce at every stoplight. With a 108-inch wheelbase, the Duster balanced agility with stability. Think of it as a linebacker who could also run a 4.440. It wasn't the shortest car on the block, but it could turn tight enough to make parking lot wars a little less painful. As for weight, at 3,415 pounds, it wasn't featherlight, but compared to its big block cousins, it was practically a welterweight. That curb weight gave it the perfect power to pounds ratio, light enough to launch like a bottle rocket, heavy enough to keep it from blowing away in a stiff breeze. Altogether, the Duster's dimensions made it compact without being cramped, solid without being sluggish. It was a sweet spot in the muscle car world. Just enough size to make a statement without needing a football field to make a U-turn. The 1970 Plymouth Duster came out swinging with a mix of strengths that made it a serious contender in the muscle car ring. First and foremost, value. It delivered big thrills without a heavyweight price tag. This was a car that let you burn rubber on a burger budget. Pair that with the mighty 340 V8 and you had a street machine that could outrun expectations and leave pricier competitors scratching their heads and checking their mirrors. Handling was another surprise. For a car from the golden age of straight-line speed, the Duster's lightweight and upgraded suspension made it nimble, like a pit bull in a greyhound race. It was practical too. Plenty of interior space, a sizable trunk, and daily driver durability banked right in. But it wasn't all sunshine and smoky burnouts. The Dusty's interior was more work boot than wing tip basic. No frills and not built for comfort. Noise insulation? Phew, forget it. You heard everything, including the guy behind you sneezing. And while the brakes worked, let's just say they weren't the Duster's bragging point. More like a polite suggestion to stop. Still, the Duster's charm was its simplicity. Fast, affordable, and fun. Proof that you don't need chrome and fluff to have muscle. And there you have it. The 1970 Plymouth Duster. A compact brawler with a big heart. A car that proved you don't need a fat wallet or a full-size frame to throw down on the blacktop. It was raw, rowdy, and rebellious, like a greaser at a prep school refusing to tuck in its shirt or play by the rules. From its feisty 340 V8 to its stripped-down interior, the Duster didn't care about being fancy. It cared only about being fast. In a world of soulless crossovers and cars that beat more than they roar, the Duster reminds us what driving used to feel like. Pure, punchy, and unapologetically fun. It wasn't perfect, but it wasn't trying to be. It was a muscle with a side of mischief. So what do you think? Was the Duster the ultimate super muscle car of the 70s, or just Mopar's cheeky little troublemaker? Let us know in the comments. We love hearing your takes, memories, and wild ride stories. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that bell for more classic firepower straight from the RetroWheelsVault, because modern cars just forgot what muscle means. Until next time, keep it loud, keep it classic.